So we have these teams of astronomers, these doctorates, undergraduates, graduates, and eventually other teams from other universities. And this was led by Richel van Capelleven, which I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And this is a doctoral student at the Leiden University in the Netherlands. So, and then we had multiple other teams from the University of Galway and the University of Arizona in the United States. The discovery was made by the European Southern Observatory Very Large Telescope in Chile. And yeah, they saw something that totally blew their minds. They just looked at a system already forming out of this nebula, and it's called the WISPIT system. Let's talk about it. So, what is this WISPIT system so intriguing? Why is it already making headlines to this day? Well, the WISPIT system is a system that's only 5 million years old. So basically in its infancy, where started by this Jupiter-like planet forming first and eventually the formation of a newborn star that is very similar to our sun. And the planet that's orbiting that newborn star is a planet that almost looks like Jupiter as it's pulling in all this gas. But still, in its infancy as it's 5 million years old. So who knows? This solar system has an incredible long future ahead of itself. And like I said, 5 million years ago wasn't too long because you're talking about something that's 4.6 billion years ago as our solar system was formed back then. But you're talking about something that's 5 million years old. So a solar system that is just formed. It's just forming at this moment. It's a baby solar system. And you have a baby Jupiter that's already forming and eventually sweeping up all these gases. It's crazy. And those photos remind me of just understanding just the glimpse and the live look of just what our solar system looked like 4.6 billion years ago. And like all solar systems in our universe, they all formed out of the nebulas from nearby stars that already exploded in a supernova, and eventually they formed nebulas because of all the outer remnants. Eventually, over time, all these gases compacted and pretty much ignited, creating nuclear fusion. And eventually, over time, they just get bigger and their gravity gets larger. And eventually, the nebula collapses into a disk. And eventually, over time, this newborn star eventually gains its luminosity and its gravity increases. It starts pushing out all of its material away from it, eventually setting up sections for planets to form. So you have these gas giants already forming first, and you have the frost line for the icy giants, eventually giving birth to inner planets, our rocky planets. And who knows how this solar system is going to look like, the WISPIT system. Who knows if one of the planets in the WISPIT system is already going to form planets that are probably going to support life. Because like I said, you need all this chaos of a solar system, collisions, fusion, ejections, and, planets getting knocked into each other. You need all that to pretty much get our planets that we have today. That one of them eventually formed life due to the collisions and the chaos. You need all of that. And like I said, planet formation's not as easy because, like I said, it's formed out of all this chaos. So, I said this is a system that's only 5 million years old. And this is a system that's only 430 light years away. And yeah, it's so young, 5 million years old. Not that old at all. Like I say, our solar system is 4.6 billion years old, and it's already still forming, it's still taking shape. Who knows what the future of our solar system is going to look like, because we already know a little bit. Our sun's going to end, eventually giving birth to new life of planets out there, and eventually, we have the new generations of planets, and who knows what that's going to look like. And eventually, we already see that right now. The WISPIT system, 5 million years old. Like I said, it's an infant. It's an infant solar system. And it's crazy. Let's just look at that. It's giving a glimpse of a sun-like star and a Jupiter-sized planet forming. It's almost the same way as how our sun was formed and how Jupiter was formed. Jupiter was the first planet to form just before our sun was formed. Eventually, over time, and all the solar system took shape. Our rocky planets started off as hundreds of rocky planets. Eventually, you had fusion and collisions, and that formed the first 4 rocky planets. And eventually, over time, things are going to happen. So like I said, that's so fascinating. So like I said, that's the WISPIT system. So without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for coming along to this journey. And as always, keep exploring.